Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/entitled people. In today's episode, you want it all for free? Karen tries to pay with fake coupons long. Entitled volunteer cuts into a whole cake. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. You want it all for free? About 10 years ago, I had a metal working project with 2.5-inch stainless steel tubing, and when it was done I had several feet left, made a walkway guardrail and some other stuff, including some large garden arches with plant shelves for my wife. The wife posts them on Facebook, and random woman shows up wanting to borrow one for a wedding arch. We don't know her, she saw the pictures and contacted my wife about them, and my wife told her they were too big to move around, but she showed up anyway. First it's borrow and I tell her they are too large for a pickup truck, and being stainless they are quite heavy, took a forklift to put them in place, and they are anchored to the ground. She says she can get someone to pick one up, then wants me to get a forklift to load it. Nope, I have to cut it loose from its anchors, and re-weld it when OT gets back, and I never intended to move it, I have to move large landscaping stone blocks just to get to it. She's not having any of it, she must have that arch or it will ruin her baby's wedding. Then she wants me to paint it white, the point of stainless is you don't have to paint it. Ever. And it's a pain in the butt to sand/prep/prime/paint polish stainless, and afterwards the stainless will need the sanding scratches polished out again, which I'm not about to do. So, hard no. Begging, tears, accusations of permanently damaging her daughter, screaming. My wife tells her she can have one made, cost is about $4,400, and have it painted someplace else, but she doesn't want to pay for the arch, we are supposed to lend it for free. Crazy lady goes dark for about 2 weeks, then I get a call from my wife. Crazy lady is in the driveway with other people, a pickup truck, which the arch won't fit into, and the county sheriff. She's holding a receipt for the arches, both, with a sale price of $200, which was obviously home printed, no business name, no business or home address, no signatures, and is expecting the deputy sheriff to enforce. Deputy lives about 2 miles up the road and I've known him 30 years. Her family/friends are all arguing aggressively with my wife, the deputy is in between, and crazy lady is screaming. I told the deputy what had went on, then he talked to my wife while I held the entitled nutjobs off, and the deputy finally kicked them off the property with the help of 2 more deputies. The first had to call in for backup. I can't tell you how the wedding went, but it wasn't under my wife's arches. Nope, I'm not moving 4,000-pound stone blocks, tearing up my yard, getting a cutting torch to cut the arches loose, getting my fork truck from my shop out to my home, and back again, and reversing the process to lend the arches to anyone. As a side note, she did give ideas to some friends. There have been 2 sets of wedding pictures under the arches, but the arches stayed right where I put them, and no crazy momzillas involved. Sounds like you met your arch nemesis. I'm speechless. She thought she could just demand absurd shit and then bluff her way through everything with ramshackle proof. WTF? Come on, even a mushroom has more sense than that. Hey, don't make fun of mushrooms like that. Mushrooms are super cool, and this lady is a POS. She's more like a can beans that expired in 1983. Even worse, bring in LEOs when you're trying to commit fraud. She should have been arrested. I couldn't help but notice that the daughter herself never made an appearance in the story. Odds are, she didn't want this nutbag involved in planning any part of the wedding in the first place. It must have been hell growing up with her. I was wondering if there actually was a daughter by the time it was over. She had her posse convinced she bought/owned the arch. This goes beyond comical to actually criminal. She rallied friends and family? None of them can see reason either? It's a group of psychos, not just the one. Never underestimate the momzilla of the bride. I mean, if I was the wife, as soon as the crazy people showed up, I would have grabbed the hose and started spraying until they got the point. How did crazy lady even find your house? Can people be that maniacally entitled? I mean, can a person be that psychology unhinged about something that wasn't even offered out for public use/borrow/rent? Just wow, that's a really wild one. Yes, I don't get out much, lol. Given some other posts I read, some of these M's can be totally deranged at times. And seem to be incapable of even realizing they are deranged. And maybe the stupid family will finally realize that this woman is batshit crazy and entitled to boot. A pickup truck, which the architect won't fit into. That must have been either a very small pickup truck or some heavy-built architect. Large arch, floor space about 8 foot by 8 foot square, 2 arches with shelves for plants on both sides and vine trellis. I built it for a small table and chairs to be under the arches. A garden spot for book reading and coffee or wine for my wife. Karen tries to pay with fake coupons long. Background: I used to exclusively sell cell phones inside of a middle-class retail chain. This service was actually ran by a different company than the retail chain itself. We would provide all of the nicer cell phones, iPhones and Samsung Galaxies, $800 to $1,500, and the retail chain provided the cheaper prepaid cell phones. My team and I would sell all of the phones, but only we could sell the nicer phones. At the time of this incident, I was the team lead for my store, meaning that when it came to the nicer cell phones, I was the final word. We never discounted the phones directly, but various service providers would authorize rebates and incentives, and that was it. When you bought a nicer phone from us, we would directly pull up your service provider account and set up the phone directly, and they would provide any discounts, credits, or rewards. We were also able to report fraud through this system. The story. It was a slow day at the cell phone station, so I decided to do a cold sale lap of the store, leaving a newer team member, let's call her Tina, in charge of the cell phone area for the 20 to 30 minutes it would take to find someone to buy a phone. I was gone maybe 10 minutes before I get a call from the store manager asking me to get back to the cell phone station because there was an issue. When I get back, I see Tina is about to cry while an overweight Karen is holding a small piece of paper and yelling at her. As I get closer, I hear the word coupon, and I immediately know what's about to go down. Less than a week ago, Tina had accepted several fake coupons, my day off, and her partner called out without telling me, and severely discounted the nicer phones on the fake coupons. She was new, and we hadn't covered that you can never discount the phones yourself, nor that we never had coupons for these. Afterwards, I made it clear to her that our team will never discount the phones. Cut back to the present, I see the store manager watching from around the corner. I waved him off and strode forward. Facing Tina, I asked what's going on. Tina let me know that the Karen wanted the newest iPhone and was trying to use a 99% off coupon. Before she could continue, the Karen cut in, I don't know what the issue is, she accepted these coupons last week from my friends. Karen then pushed the coupon towards Tina, like that would magically change the situation. I told Tina to take an extra 15 in the back, and then turned back to the Karen. I was pissed, and I think it was showing just a bit, because Karen flinched. While I hadn't been into much trouble over the coupon issue the week prior, I had been passed over for a promotion to another store because of it, and I was not in the mood. Not only was she basically trying to steal a phone, she had specifically targeted Tina. Who told you that Tina would accept this ridiculously fake coupon? Was it Kathy? We had records for the nicer phones, and Kathy's account was banned from every one of our locations because of the prior incident. Karen became pale at the last question, and I think she realized that she was in trouble. She tried to mention something about the retail chain accepting these types of coupons, and I laughed. I explained that the retail chain didn't have any say over the nicer phones, and that we worked for a different company. She tried to insist that we had already taken these coupons before, so why couldn't she use them now? At this point, I was done and told her, in no uncertain terms, that we will never discount the nicer phones, and that she would not be purchasing phones from this location, period. Fortunately for me, the store manager had hung around, and I called him over. Can you call asset protection?
I picked up the coupon and handed to him.
Using a fake coupon is stealing, and this woman also knows Kathy from last week. Karen tried to run, but we were lucky in that police were already at the entrance for an entirely separate issue. I heard later that Karen did get past them initially, but the police were informed of the situation and were able to detain Karen before she made it to her car, and then arrested Karen. Unfortunately, I don't know what happened after that, but I did give a statement about this incident 2 weeks later to the police, so I think charges were filed.
Instant karma. Awesome.
Sounds like you work for the same company I used to work for.
Oftentimes, though not always, fraud is easy to detect.
They always seem so surprised when caught. We would sell the phones for specific providers, and it's always I don't know my password, can't I just buy the phone?
Way to go for protecting your coworker. Sounds like prime communications.
What's funny is that some of our iPhones were available for direct sale, but those were never targeted, except for these two.
Must have been a funny sight to see this Karen make a run for it.
I presume these entitled thieves all got perma-banned.
I actually don't know. I ended up leaving that company about a month after the end of this post.
I do know that location I worked at had her picture in their ban book when I left, but that isn't permanent.
99% off? For the newest iPhone? Get out of here.
I hope you still get your promotion, especially after this.
Sounds like the company I used to work for. Karens be Karening. Oof, big womp womp sound.
Would love to see her explaining to her friend that she got arrested for the same scam.
I personally hope she tattled on the friend when she was talking to the police. Not accepting coupons should have been the very first thing Tina should have been taught.
I'm curious as to how she was able to discount the phone if it's something they never do.
Entitled volunteer cuts into a whole cake.
Years ago, I worked in a library with the most entitled volunteer you have ever seen. She would eat people's lunches, take drinks from the fridge, and was even caught with her finger in the peanut butter jar. Not a spoon, but her dirty finger. And never once offered to replace anything she had taken.
We were celebrating a coworker's birthday one day.
The party was scheduled for about 3 p.m., when more staff would be around. This woman took it upon herself to take the cake out of the fridge, out of the box, and cut herself a big ol' slice. This cake was clearly a birthday cake, as it said happy birthday on it.
WTH?
Our manager had to go out and get a new cake that wasn't already eaten.
Like, who does that? Why would you ever think it's okay to just cut into a cake? Sigh. Is it possible to fire volunteers? I feel like this would warrant it.
Not only for bad conduct, but also creating an unhygienic working environment with the peanut butter. Your manager should have charged her for the cake.
For real. What kind of toxic management just lets that go? She clearly doesn't care. Up. Does your work have an HR? This person sounds like a liability.
You can fire volunteers, but it is difficult. Usually, the entitled ones are also donors, so there is a delicate dance to keep the dollar but lose the AH.
I had a patient do this once. Everyone was in with other PTS and no one was in the hallway.
She walked into our kitchen, opened the fridge, took yogurt, drinks, sandwiches, and cut into a piece of birthday cake.
She proceeded to walk back to the treatment room and sat there eating the cake.
When the nurse walked in with the PA and saw her, their faces fell. She took the biggest piece.
We had 35 plus people in the office. It was a sheet cake. She just took like 1/10 of it. A huge corner piece. Then she proceeded to yell at us because it was a carrot cake and she doesn't like carrots. I would taken it thrown in the trash. And told her to get out. This wasn't for you, you're stealing from this office. Please don't come back. Was she written up or fired? If not, she will do it again. I just found out someone ate my lunch today.
Pretty sure it's another department that has keys to our office and comes in to hang out in the middle of the night, instead of working.
Spike your lunch. Bring a cooler with your actual lunch. Lock it. Leave in the fridge.
Bring a second lunch and do as you normally do, only use some hit pepper extract, like Carolina Reaper lol.
Go around in a panic. One of the ingredients was a medication that needs to be taken with food and can be a very strong laxative. Sell medical attention immediately. Sorry about that, but has anyone thought about confronting her and stopping her physically from doing these things?
Like snatch the stolen food from her hand, take the peanut butter jar and put it on her desk with her name on it, or throw it out. Get little food lockers with everyone's name on them, only they have the key so she can't steal. Knock the food out of her hands. I don't care if that's wrong, but she's a menace.
If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.